Why do you think the core tenets of the 2020 National AI Initiative Act, based on OSTP's earlier work, were implemented in unexpected ways during the Biden administration? Was that a departure from the statute or a result of the law's open-ended language, and how can we guard against it moving forward?
Chairman Cruz, thank you for your question. I had been involved in drafting of the 2019 executive order, which was the first ever signed by a president on artificial intelligence. And the language that we had, Chairman Cruz, thank you for your question. I had been involved in drafting of the 2019 executive order.
Today, Capitol Hill was buzzing as Senator Ted Cruz grilled nominees for some of the most powerful safety and technology positions in government. But this wasn't just another hearing. It was a battle for the future of how America manages safety, innovation, and even the very rules of the digital age.
Thank you. Mr. Graham, we'll start with you. ADSB is a technology that can receive or transmit location, altitude, velocity to air traffic control and other nearby aircraft faster than radar or other transponders. Unfortunately, the Army Black Hawk helicopter involved in the mid-air collision above the Potomac earlier this year was not transmitting ADSB, despite operating in congested airspace with civilian aircraft. This meant the Black Hawk, which should have never been flying in that area in the first place, was completely dark airplanes arriving at DCA. In July, I introduced the Rotor Act, which would require all aircraft, commercial, business, general aviation, and military, to transmit their locations via ADSB. Widespread adoption of ADSB will improve aviation safety, as noted by your colleague, NTSB Chair Jennifer Hammond. The NTSB has long called for broader use of ADSB. Mr. Graham, should virtually all aircraft be required to transmit their locations via ADSB and to receive ADSB signals from nearby aircraft?
Chairman Cruz, thank you for that question. First of all, as far as ADSB goes, with respect to the accident, it'd be inappropriate for me to draw any conclusions at that point because it hasn't been presented to the board as a final report with probable cause and conclusions, findings, recommendations. But as far as ADSB technology goes, it has an incredible safety potential if implemented correctly. I think it has great benefit for the future of being able to, for airports that don't have ground radar or any other kind of radar. I think those systems that are called the SAI initiative that the FAA is putting in control towers, I think is great.
The spotlight was on 3 nominees: Michael Graham for the National Transportation Safety Board, Ethan Klene for the Office of Science and Technology Policy, and Joyce Meyer for the Department of Commerce. Each one brings heavyweight credentials, but Senator Cruz wasn't there to hand out easy passes. First up, aviation safety. Cruz zeroed in on Michael Graham about a recent helicopter crash. The heart of the issue? The military helicopter wasn't broadcasting its location using ADSB technology. Cruz wanted a straight answer. Should all aircraft, even military, have to use this real-time tracking? Graham hesitated, but when pressed, he finally said it. Yes, it would be safer. That single word could mean a big shift for American skies.
The problem they have right now is they haven't put any warning or caution systems, either audio or visual, for the controllers to alert the controller that there might be an impending incursion. I've seen some of the technology that some of the avionics manufacturers are using it for in the cockpit, which is one of our recommendations that go back to 2000. That we asked for not just the control towers to have this data and be able to see aircraft, but also in the cockpit so pilots can start reacting quicker than waiting for a controller to tell them. So I believe in ADSB technology in the future, and I do think, especially in Class B airspace, in my personal opinion, all aircraft should have that on and when they're operating in that area.
In your professional judgment, would the flying public be safer if the Rotor Act were passed and ADSB in and out were required for aircraft in commercial airspace?
Thank you, Chairman Cruz, for that question. First of all, the NTSB, we don't normally endorse any legislation, but we do look at our recommendations that have been out there for some time, and I noticed some of those are included in the Rotor Act. We're always trying to have our recommendations either implemented by the regulator or legislatively by this body.
Okay, let me just try for a straightforward answer. Would the flying public be safer if ADSB in and out were required?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, Cruz turned to artificial intelligence. He questioned Ethan Klene on whether the current administration is twisting AI policy to push censorship. especially around topics like misgendering and so-called disinformation.
Mr. Klene, in your role at OSTP during the first Trump administration, you advanced the nation's AI strategy through the American AI Initiative and helped establish the tenets outlined in the 2020 National Artificial Intelligence Initiative Act. Some of those tenets were abused by the Biden administration. For instance, the Biden administration diverted NIST from its job of developing technical standards to policing what they called disinformation and stereotyping in AI, both of which were masked up censorship. As stakeholders and lawmakers talk about wanting to more tightly regulate AI, they should keep in mind that the last time Congress authorized AI standards-related activity, the American AI Initiative ended up being used by woke leftists in the Biden administration to guard against supposed harms like misgendering on ChatGPT or ChatGPT downplaying climate change. Thankfully, the Trump administration has put a stop to this nonsense and is stamping out woke AI. Why do you think the core tenets of the 2020 National AI Initiative Act, based on OSTP's earlier work, were implemented in unexpected ways during the Biden administration? Was that a departure from the statute or a result of the law's open-ended language, and how can we guard against it moving forward?
Klene defended the original intent behind America's AI strategy: innovation, leadership, and trust, while also stressing the need for careful oversight. This is more than a policy debate. It's a tug of war over who controls the code that runs our lives.
Chairman Cruz, thank you for your question. I had been involved in drafting of the 2019 executive order, which was the first ever signed by a president on artificial intelligence. And the language that we had used at that time was seeking to reduce barriers to safe testing and deployment that would help enable an industry adoption and ensure public trust in these technologies. In my personal belief, I think NIST, as a former National Bureau of Standards, is an excellent place to do use case and sector-specific standards that can help enable industry adoption and enable public trust. I think that the position of this administration is very much focused on that in terms of the America's AI Action Plan and the task specifically given to the Office of Science and Technology Policy in issuing an RFI that will seek to identify those kinds of barriers and places where we may need either deregulatory action, greater use of exemptions, waivers, or regulatory sandboxing, or places where we may actually need more regulatory clarity to, again, ensure industry adoption and public trust in this technology.
Thank you. Ranking Member Cantwell.
Then, the economic angle. Joyce Meyer was up for Undersecretary at Commerce, overseeing the census and the country's economic pulse. While less dramatic, this role is all about who gets to count and whose voices get heard in the numbers that drive national policy. So what's at stake? From air travel to AI, these nominees could shape decisions that impact every American. Senator Cruz's tough questions cut to the heart of accountability, transparency, and the real power of unelected officials. If you want more breakdowns like this, hit subscribe, tap the bell, and let me know in the comments. Do you think Cruz is right to push for more oversight, or is it too much government control? Your opinion matters. Stay tuned to Hot News Today. I'll keep digging for the truth behind Washington's biggest headlines.